Hello, friends, and welcome to Figure Study, where we are appreciating the form in Bayformers. Yes, that's gonna be the thing, I guess, now. I don't know, it's important to mix it up, okay? Today we're taking a look at what I am pretty sure is Revenge of the Fallen Sideways. I say pretty sure because I can never remember when some of these things are from Revenge of the Fallen or Dark of the Moon, but I'm pretty sure this is Revenge of the Fallen. Sideways was a figure I wanted to get my hands on for a while, and I'm glad I finally did. It took a little bit of searching and patience to finally find him for a decent price, but I have done so, and here he is. And he is a very pretty car. I don't know the exact model, if it's even actually an exact model. It has kind of an Audi vibe to it, but it looks very nice. I really like the sort of concept car smooth lines that are in, predominantly you see it kind of in the front and in the back. It has a slightly concept car look to it that I actually greatly appreciate. There's some nice detail in this vehicle mode too, just like some nice painted bits, lots of nice use of translucent plastic for like the rear headlights, for the tail lights, and the regular translucent plastic for the headlights. It's a lot of molding too that kind of works in the favor of the car's details. So really there aren't that many painted bits on here. There's just kind of this bit here, the rims, which that one's a bit messy. That's disappointing. But yeah, it's primarily just the bits on the side, the rims, the Decepticon logo on the back, and all of the car. Like all this kind of dark gunmetal-y gray is painted, and it looks really nice. Unfortunately, this is where pretty much all the paint of the figure went, and anyone who's familiar with this toy is aware, but gotta hand it to the car mode. It does look very nice. It's even like not that panely. I mean, yeah, there are panel bits here and there, but by and large it's pretty well covered up. Yeah, I like the kind of sleek, low to the ground kind of, I like the lines and the curves on this car. It's very neat. Also hides the robot mode pretty well. It's a bit empty in the back here, but up here this all looks like it could just be engine stuff for the most part. It's also got this kind of neat detail in the back here with just like the molded engine, I think is what that's supposed to be, in the rear window. It is a cool looking car is what I'm trying to say. Size-wise, it's roughly the same size as a Titans Return Deluxe. It's not quite as bulky, definitely a bit sleeker, but I think that has more to do with the aesthetic differences between the two rather than any kind of changes that have occurred over time due to budgets and whatnot. Note that I said think. I'm not 100% positive on any of that. You know, it's a shame that I don't have more to say about Sideways vehicle mode because it's a very nice vehicle mode, but I mean, its niceness is also kind of simplistic. You know, it's nice color, nice molding, nice painting, and that's about all I can say about it. It looks good, and that's about as fancy as I can get with my words right now. So let's get him into robot mode, where I know I will have more things to say about him. I fumbled through that a lot more than I was expecting to, but here we have Sideways in his extremely interesting robot mode. Comparisons have been made in the past, I know, saying that basically he looks like he could be a sort of movie resurrection of an Insecticon, and I mean, I would buy it, both figuratively and literally. This mode, it appeals to me in a very unique way. I like Sideways for the same reasons that I like Rampage. And that's because you've got a fairly mundane vehicle. I mean, in this case, it was a nice looking vehicle, but all things considered, it's a mundane vehicle. It's a car. You've got a fairly mundane vehicle that turns into a very interesting, very different style of robot mode. In Rampage's case, it's a bulldozer that turns into a centaur crab. And in Sideways' case, it's a car that turns into a Bugman. And yeah, I really like when the movie toys have done that in the past, which isn't very often, but it's so much more interesting to me than just car turns into very humanoid robot. And this looks great. Just the doors angling out as almost like wings, the entire side window sections of the car folding up, also looking like wings. And this has kind of like almost like a locust vibe to it, just the way that these are so thin and angle up. It looks really, really nice. I really, really like this guy's silhouette. And I believe I've said this in the past. If not, I'm saying it now. I'm probably one of only a handful of people who actually really like the movie toys for doing the backwards knee thing. I've just always really liked that look. And I think it definitely fits with Sideways because he's a Bugman. And, I mean, if you're going to give someone backwards knees, it might as well be a Bugman, right? He looks so interesting and cool. I really like this. I thought I was going to be bothered by the fact that the head is just on this panel that flips down. But in the grand scheme of things, it actually works pretty well. Like, just the colors close enough that it doesn't look completely out of place. It doesn't really look like this is just a panel that's sitting on the car hood. And it stays down pretty well. I was, what is it? I think Dead End, maybe? I'll need to double check, but there's a mold mate of his that's, different colorings, different head. Not a fan of the head on the other guy. No. But anyway, with the other one, which I think is Dead End, this panel here is a much different color than the car hood that it sits on, so it's very glaringly obvious that there's just this panel sitting on top of the car hood. That's why I really like Sideways color scheme in this area, because it blends a lot better. And the head is, it kind of looks like a robot Bugman head. Supposedly, I guess people have been comparing it to Barricade, and I could kind of see a vague resemblance in just the overall, general shape of the head. But, he's doing his own thing. And it looks pretty good. It's a movie head, so it's so much detail, it's almost messy. But I'm okay with it. My main issue with Sideways is the same issue that I think a lot of people have had, which is that his robot mode is severely lacking paint. I absolutely like the bits of car that are there, and I think overall, the dark plastic works, but it could really use just a little more detail in the arms, and this orange in the midsection, it's not great. It doesn't ruin the toy for me. I still think this looks fantastic overall, but this, no. That color, if it were a darker shade, I think it would bother me less. It would definitely bother me less if there was actually some paint in here, but it's a bit garish. It doesn't quite work. I've actually been toying with the idea of, toying, no pun intended, but I've been thinking of possibly getting some paint and just doing a dry brush, just basically over all of the unpainted plastic, just to try and pull everything together a bit more. I feel like it's not going to necessarily fix things, but it might just add a slightly more cohesive look to him. Hence why I'm doing this video now, because I wanted to do this before I did any kind of touch-ups to the guy, which I may or may not ever end up doing, because that's how I roll. I talk about stuff and then never do stuff. I do have a slight irritating issue with my particular version of this guy. This bit does not like to stay up. It's very, very loose. It's fine if I can get him standing, but it doesn't like to stay up on its own power if there's any kind of jostling or if he leans too far back. Still though, he looks fantastic overall. And when we look at him next to a Titans Return Deluxe, you can see Chrome Dome is still bulkier overall, but he is definitely bigger in robot mode. He's taller, he's got, very different proportions for one thing. Also, comparatively, his arms are super thick compared to Chrome Dome's arms. Chrome Dome's arms almost look kind of stubby by comparison. Yeah, it's interesting that you've got like two vehicles that are basically the same size, one that's more bulky, and then you end up with robots that are drastically different. I mean, obviously drastically different in aesthetic, but also pretty different in terms of size and just overall shape. Yeah, I love Sideways. I'm very, very glad I managed to get my hands on him finally, and also that I did not pay an absurd amount of money for him. I mean, it's, you know, it's still more expensive than if I were to have got him in the store back when he first came out, but it's definitely better than like $50 to $100, because yikes. Sideways is very cool. I really love his overall silhouette. For him, the backwards knees are just excellent. The swept back bits of the car making like this winged look. It's just, there's so much about this guy that just works from like a design, execution, and intent standpoint. Like, they wanted to make a car turn into a Bugman, and they made a car turn into a Bugman, and he looks good. Paint in robot mode kind of sucks, but overall he does look good. And since I neglected to point this out before, I should go over this real quick. Complain though I might about the lack of paint in robot mode, I certainly can't complain about a lack of detailing. He is covered in really nice molded details. I mean, okay, I can't say covered, but the bits that are showing, like the midsection here and the arms, they are definitely full of detail and they look very, very good. And yeah, just aside from the lacking paint in robot mode, it's a very solid figure all around. So yeah, that has been my look at Revenge of the Fallen Sideways. I know unlike Rampage, this guy's a bit more universally liked, but I still think like just the whole idea of him, Rampage, like Demolisher, all that, I really like that they kind of got more playful with their robot modes in Revenge of the Fallen. So what do you all think? Have any of you had Sideways or Dead End or Dino, whatever? Do you like the mold? Do you hate the mold? Do you have the same issues that I have with that floppy backpack thing? Have you done any custom work on yours? Because this guy's kind of begging for it. Let me know what you all think. Leave a comment if you are so inclined. And that is going to do it. So, thank you everyone for watching. As per usual, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Any combination of those three would make me a happy Rob. And remember, art is more than meets the eye.